Now, this has moved on, as it does, almost daily, very quickly. When I constructed this, I was talking about the carbon policy, but we've now got one that's actually on the agenda that's before us, and it's shifting each day as each group come out. There are two things that I think are going to be clear as we have our carbon debate. The first one is that to ensure continuity of electricity supply, it is going to be necessary to get the investment ground rules quickly set up. Otherwise, to end the strike in investment capital that we've got in that industry. Now, in 2009, late 2009, Martin Ferguson, Minister for Resources, thinking he was days away from ETS with the coalition before it all imploded, was saying that we have 7 years, otherwise we run out of juice. 7 years. We've gone through 15, and it would take 7 years to set it up, but they needed a carbon price. We've now burnt up 15 months and done nothing, and we're in a process where we're already getting climbing electricity costs. The public's getting a bit restless about this. You wait till they start turning off the lights, it'll be political endgame. So I think it's essential that we quickly set a set of ground rules so that the investment strike in our power sector can come to an end. Now, if that's going to be through the carbon debate, the second message I've got is that you will never get this through until there is a coherent and consistent policy. And the forest industries absolutely represent where there is an absolute disconnect here, where we're saying we're trying to get the carbon emissions down, but we have a lot of policies in the forest industry which are completely counterproductive to that. Simply put, I'm saying that the historic green anti-forestry rhetoric is now directly contradicting carbon reduction science. For example, in biomass. In Europe, biomass usage is absolutely de rigueur for the green movement. They've come to terms with it. In fact, they embrace it. And they're happy if you pull out your oil central heating and shove in a wood pelletisation one. In Australia, we've still got the anti-forestry movement trying to counter this type of carbon reducing policy, trying to say that biomass is not, especially in timber, is not a renewable energy. My belief is that politically you will not, no party can get this through. It's a very complex, very controversial policy, and both sides of politics have had a bit each way at various points. No one's going to get it through while it's coherent. The best chance is to get some coherence, and this is a great opportunity for the forest industry to rectify its current social licence. The forest industry is the only carbon positive industry that we have operating in Australia. Sorry, the forest industry. You can't close that down or constrain it, and at the same time ask the public to make sacrifices that will cost them to reduce their carbon emissions. The public just will not wear that kind of conflict. My recommendations for change are to clarify the forest industry's social licence as part of making the carbon policy coherent. Now, governments, and I'm not speaking about this government, I'm speaking about governments in the last 30 years, have played a significant role in causing this mayhem and causing the misunderstanding of the social licence. So it's in their interests, or it's in their interests to get clarity now to get their carbon debate through. So I think both those who support getting a coherent carbon policy and those supporting the forest industry have a common interest, and I would urge the governments to play their role in rectifying that. We urgently need a forest industry growth plan. We currently have a closure or constraint plan. To do this, we need to develop viable greenfield sawlog model to give sawmill production through plantations and agroforestry. We don't have one. We hoped for one through the MIS, but that was really a pulpwood scheme and hasn't done anything in saw logs. We haven't had one for 2 or 3 decades or beyond. We need one now. In my personal view, and it's not my area, David's much more familiar with it, is there is a synergy of interest here between the expertise that we have in state forests and their credibility as experts in growing our native species, in private capital, and in governments getting multi-uses out of these forests as they go through in a growth phase. There is in there somewhere an answer. The other thing is once logs are certified, it's just a point I want to mention, it should, once they're certified and presented to industry, industry should be free to use them for the most economic balance. We can't have the anti-forestry groups trying to tie up the economic opportunities and make the industry unviable by these sort of side regulatory issues. And finally, government assistance should link to productivity improvements rather than just job creation. What I'm saying there is it's no good just creating jobs if they're going to be unviable. They've got to be viable in the long term. Thank you.